1976. America was celebrating its 200th birthday. The flags were flying, the speeches were loud, but on the radio, on the real radio, a different story was being told.
Count up the years, and they will be hung up like my man.
One that was honest, one that was hard-earned, one that only black artists could tell.
Something short, one standing tall.
This was the year soul music stood at the most dramatic crossroads it had ever faced. Disco was rising, funk was shifting, and the artists who had carried an entire community through one of the most turbulent decades in American history were still reaching for something higher. What you are about to witness is not a simple list. This is a documentary about records that defined a generation, voices that refused to be silenced, and stories behind the music that most fans have never fully heard. If you love classic R&B and soul music, subscribe right now. Drop in the comments the song that changed your life, and do not leave before the #1 reveal. The biggest story in this entire countdown is waiting at the very end. The countdown starts now. We begin at number 10 with a woman whose name belongs in far more conversations than history has ever allowed. Candi Staton grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, shaped entirely by the gospel church. That foundation never left her voice, not when she crossed into secular music, not when she recorded at the legendary Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals, and not when her personal life was carrying weight most people never saw. Shows, and not when her personal life was carrying weight most people never saw. By 1976, she had already survived more than most fans know. Industry indifference, personal heartbreak, years of delivering extraordinary performances that mainstream music rarely bothered to document. Then came Young Hearts Run Free, a record that spoke directly to women carrying more than they should. A statement about dignity and freedom delivered in a voice built entirely by lived experience. Decades later, it still resonates. Yet Candi Staton's full story remains one of the most underrepresented chapters in classic R&B history. She deserved more credit then. She deserves it now. When you just can't break away. But the artist arriving next at number 9 made a record in 1976 that did something no soul record had ever done before in the entire history of the music industry. And that story is coming right now.
Y'all got off quiet. Bring it down. Yeah.
Number 9, and the story gets bigger. Johnnie Taylor was already a proven force in soul music before 1976 arrived. He had sung gospel alongside Sam Cooke in the Soul Stirrers. He had built a loyal following through years of honest, hard-working R&B on the Stax Records roster.
Another thing. Look, woman, tell me.
He understood the music at a level most artists only talk about, but nothing in his career predicted what was about to happen. In 1976, Disco Lady spent 6 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the soul chart. And it became the first single ever officially certified platinum by the RIAA under their newly established certification system, the first in the entire history of recorded music. That fact alone should make Johnnie Taylor a permanent fixture in every music history conversation.
I'm getting rid of a woman. You think, Lord have mercy. You know something? I'm talking to you, lady.
Somehow, it rarely does. His story is a reminder that the man behind the milestone is always more important than the milestone itself. Number 8 is coming, and the artist waiting there spent years proving that owning your music means owning your future. Number 8 belongs to a family that refused to let the music industry write their story for them. By 1976, the Isley Brothers had already been recording for nearly 2 decades. They had survived label changes, industry indifference, and the kind of commercial uncertainty that ends most careers. What kept them standing was something most artists of their era did not have: their own label, T-Neck Records, and complete control over everything they created. That independence was not symbolic, it was strategic. And in 1976, it produced Harvest for the World, an album that addressed economic inequality, racial injustice, and the distance between America's promises and America's reality, all wrapped inside music that was undeniably beautiful. The Isley Brothers were not waiting for permission. They never had been. Decades before ownership became the loudest conversation in the music industry, this family was already living the answer. Their legacy is a blueprint, and it was written in 1976. Number 7 is next. And the artist waiting there spent 1976 doing something incredibly difficult, stepping out of the longest shadow in Motown history and proving, without question, that the talent was entirely her own.
Tell me one more time. You know this thing, I've got love, yeah.
Number 7, and this story starts with a name that was both a gift and a burden. Natalie Cole was the daughter of Nat King Cole, one of the most beloved entertainers America had ever produced.
Only you can satisfy. Whole lot of love for you, baby, yeah. As the sun sets.
That legacy opened doors. It also placed expectations on her shoulders that would have crushed someone with less determination. But Natalie Cole was not interested in living inside her father's shadow. She was building something entirely her own. By 1976, she had already won 2 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist. Her creative partnership with producers Chuck Jackson and Marvin Yancey was generating a sound rooted in soul, touched by gospel, and delivered with a confidence that silenced every comparison. What most fans never knew was that behind those chart successes, Natalie Cole was quietly navigating personal struggles that would eventually test everything she had built. The full weight of that story would only become clear years later, making her 1976 achievements feel even more remarkable in hindsight. She was not writing her father's name, she was earning her own.
It was staring me straight in my
If this documentary is bringing back memories and uncovering stories you never knew, subscribe right now so you never miss another countdown celebrating the legends who shaped classic R&B and soul music. Like this video if these artists have touched your life. And share your favorite Natalie Cole song or memory in the comments below, because the artists still ahead in this countdown have even bigger stories, more surprising revelations, and music that genuinely changed the world. Stay with us.
you say.
Number 6 is next. And the act waiting there arrived in 1976 with something to prove, two brothers who had spent years making other people's music great before finally stepping forward to make their own. Number 6. And sometimes the greatest stories begin in someone else's spotlight. George and Louis Johnson had been working in the music industry for years before their own names ever appeared on a marquee. They were session musicians, touring performers, quietly gifted in ways the industry had not yet figured out how to package and sell. Then Quincy Jones paid attention. That creative relationship changed everything. In 1976, their debut album, Look Out for #1, reached the top of the R&B albums chart and introduced the world to a sound that was equal parts funk, soul, and pure musical precision. I'll Be Good to You became the hit that announced their arrival. But it was the album as a whole that revealed their depth. Two brothers, one debut, zero apologies. Their bass lines and guitar work became reference points for producers and musicians across multiple decades and genres, many of whom never knew exactly where that sound originated. Number 5 is next, and the artist waiting there spent 1976 making one of the most courageous professional decisions of her entire career, a decision that cost her comfort, certainty, and the most powerful institution she had ever known. What she built on the other side of that decision is a story worth every moment of your attention. Number 5, and this is where the countdown gets personal. By 1976, Diana Ross had already achieved what most artists spend entire careers chasing: the Supremes, Motown, the films, the sold-out stages. She had done all of it at the highest possible level. And then she walked away from the label that built her. Leaving Motown meant leaving Berry Gordy, leaving the institution that had shaped nearly every professional decision of her adult life. It meant betting on herself at the exact moment when the safer choice was simply to stay. What most fans never fully appreciated was the specific courage that decision required. Diana Ross was not leaving because things were failing. She was leaving because she believed something greater was possible on her own terms. That belief, difficult, uncertain, and deeply human, defined her 1976 chapter more than any single record or chart position ever could. She did not need permission to be great. She already knew she was. And in 1976, she proved that reinvention is not a sign of instability. It is the highest form of artistic confidence. Number 4 is next, and the group waiting there did not simply make great music in 1976. They made music that felt like a spiritual experience, a group whose live performances left audiences genuinely changed. Their story, and what was quietly happening behind the scenes during their greatest commercial moment, is one of the most powerful chapters in this entire countdown. Number 4. And some groups do not just make music, they set the standard for what music is supposed to feel like. Earth, Wind and Fire in 1976 was operating at a level that simply had no comparison. The horn arrangements, the layered vocals, the rhythmic precision, the philosophical depth running underneath songs that also happened to be irresistibly joyful.
Let's keep on grooving. We're gonna do the big count off now.
Maurice White had built something that was simultaneously a band, a belief system, and a cultural force. Their chart success that year was undeniable, multiple Hot Soul singles entries and continued album dominance that confirmed what live audiences had known for years. This group was different. What most fans did not know was that Maurice White was already managing a private health challenge that would eventually reshape the group's future. He never let it show. The performances never reflected the weight he was quietly carrying. That discipline, that commitment to protecting the music above everything else, that is the mark of a true artist. Earth, Wind and Fire did not just cross racial, generational, and geographic lines in 1976, they erased them entirely. And the musicians, producers, and artists who came after them across hip-hop, neo-soul, gospel, and contemporary R&B have been reaching toward that standard ever since. Number 3 is coming, and the voice waiting there needs no introduction. But the story behind her 1976 moment and what she was carrying when she recorded it absolutely does. Number 3, and there is only one place this countdown could go right now. Aretha Franklin in 1976 was not coasting on prior greatness. She was actively defending her position as the greatest voice in the history of American music, and doing it in a year when the industry's attention was shifting toward newer sounds and younger faces. The vehicle was Something He Can Feel, recorded for the Sparkle soundtrack and written by Curtis Mayfield. When two of black music's most towering creative forces meet in the same room, the result is rarely ordinary. This was extraordinary. The record reached number 1 on the Hot Soul singles chart and introduced Aretha to an entirely new generation of listeners who had grown up after her Atlantic Records peak. What made that achievement remarkable was the context surrounding it. Aretha Franklin was navigating significant personal and professional transitions during this period, quietly managing the kind of private pressures that rarely appeared in interviews or reviews. The record she delivered in the middle of all that said everything her public statements never did. That is what separated Aretha Franklin from everyone else. Not just the voice, the truth inside the voice. She stands at number 3 on this countdown, and she deserves every word of it.
It's gonna, let's just kiss. Try.
Now number 2. Few records in the entire history of classic R&B have captured a specific human moment as completely and honestly as Kiss and Say Goodbye by the Manhattans. The group had been recording since the early 1960s. They had built their reputation on close vocal harmonies and emotional depth that their contemporaries consistently respected and their audiences consistently loved.
Have passed us by.
But by 1976, the Manhattans had also endured genuine loss, the death of a founding member whose absence reshaped the group permanently. What they brought into the studio that year carried all of that grief alongside all of that craft, the spoken word introduction. the arrangement that builds with absolute patience, the vocal performance that delivers the song's emotional weight without ever crossing into excess. Kiss and Say Goodbye became one of the biggest soul singles of 1976, but its lasting power has nothing to do with chart positions.
Darling, don't you cry.
It endures because it tells the truth about how endings actually feel, and it does so with a grace that very few records in any genre have ever matched. The Manhattans gave the world something permanent in 1976, and the world has been holding on to it ever since. Number 1 is next. And nothing that has come before in this countdown, no chart record, no creative breakthrough, no act of professional courage, fully prepares you for the story waiting at the top.
Don't you worry, 'cause I'll be standing in the way, but some don't know how to handle it.
Number 1. There was never really any other possibility. In September 1976, Stevie Wonder released Songs in the Key of Life, a double album, over 20 songs, 2 years in the making, and from the moment it arrived, the conversation about what popular music could achieve changed permanently.
Places, just don't worry about a thing, baby.
The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and the R&B albums chart simultaneously. It won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year. It now lives in both the Grammy Hall of Fame and the Library of Congress National Recording Registry.
Always reaching.
Every measurement the music industry has ever used to define greatness points directly at this record, but the chart facts are almost beside the point. 3 years before Songs in the Key of Life was completed, Stevie Wonder was in a coma following a near-fatal car accident.
Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing.
He was 23 years old. The injuries were severe enough that the people closest to him were not certain he would survive. He did survive, and when he returned to the studio, he returned with the full knowledge of exactly how close everything had come to ending.
I just got a thing.
That awareness lives inside every song on that album. I Wish reaches back into childhood with a joy that feels completely unguarded. Sir Duke celebrates Duke Ellington and the entire tradition of black music with a horn arrangement so precise and so exhilarating that musicians are still studying it today.
Don't you worry about a thing. Style of life's a drag.
Isn't She Lovely, inspired by the birth of his daughter Aisha, is one of the most purely joyful recordings in the history of popular music. No apology, no filter, just a father overwhelmed by love and a harmonica that says everything words cannot.
Don't you worry about it, 'cause I'll be standing in.
Stevie Wonder had negotiated complete creative control from Motown at age 21. Every instrument on most of those tracks, his hands. Every arrangement, his vision. Every lyric, his truth. The scale of what he built and the personal history he brought into the building of it places Songs in the Key of Life in a category that very few albums in any genre have ever reached. This was not simply the greatest black music achievement of 1976. This was one of the greatest achievements in the history of recorded music, full stop. And that is why Stevie Wonder stands alone at number 1 in this countdown. From Candi Staton's Gospel Fire to Johnnie Taylor's chart history,
He watches over.
from the Isley Brothers' blueprint of independence to Natalie Cole earning every note of her own name, from the Brothers Johnson stepping into their own spotlight to Diana Ross betting on herself. From Earth, Wind, and Fire, setting the standard to Aretha Franklin, delivering truth when it mattered most. From the Manhattans giving the world a ballad, It Will Never Let Go, to a man who survived the unthinkable and responded by making one of the most complete, most human, most extraordinary albums the world had ever heard.
Let's party together. Come on. Right on. Get that right on, y'all.
That is what 1976 was. That is what these artists were. And that is why their music still lives in us today. If this documentary brought back memories, taught you something new, or deepened your love for the artists who built classic R&B and soul music, subscribe right now so you never miss another countdown. Like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear these stories. Drop in the comments your favorite artist from this countdown, the song that means the most to you, or the memory this music carries for you. This community was built for conversations exactly like that one. And come back, because the next countdown is coming. More legendary Black artists, more untold stories, more iconic songs, more moments that changed music forever. This music was never just entertainment, it was evidence. Evidence of what Black artists could create when they were given the freedom or took it for themselves. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next countdown.